You'll notice that the letters here are appearing a bit jagged. This is because we have pixel aspect ratio correction turned on. If we go to the View menu, we can turn this off, and you'll see that the text appears crisp again. Because we've placed this text over a background, we need to add a contrasting edge. This is called Type on Pattern. One of the easiest ways to do this is with layer styles. At the bottom of the Layers palette, I can click and choose to add a drop shadow. This invokes the drop shadow dialog box, and I can adjust the size of the drop shadow as well as how much it spreads out. Oftentimes I'll combine a drop shadow with a slight outer glow, set to the same color in this case, normal mode. Let's set that to black and normal mode, and then we'll pull that in a little. Adjust the size and the spread, and I have a pretty good contrasting edge there. I'll go ahead and click OK. If needed, I can adjust the spacing between individual letters here. Click between two letters, hold down the Option or the Alt key, and you can adjust the kerning. The goal is to get an even flow between all of the characters. Notice this large gap here between the W and the comma. I'll go ahead and bring that in, but then let's open up the gap here between the W and the I for a little more readability. I click Apply. I'd like to go ahead and add another line of text here. So I can go ahead, pick a different color, or load white again with the value of 235. Click OK. And then I can click and drag to define my next text box. And I can start to type inside of that box. Notice, not all the text fit, so I'll need to go ahead and shrink this down a bit to a smaller point size, and I'll go ahead and adjust it. In this case, I'm going to switch to an italic for the lower line. Pick the Move tool, and I can move this into place a little bit better. If I'd like to, you can right-click on one layer and choose Copy Layer Style, which then allows you to right-click or contextual click and choose Paste Layer Style for the other text layer. If you have good eyes, you may have noticed that the word dispute is spelled incorrectly. If you don't have good eyes, or you have to rush a lot, be reassured that Photoshop has a spell checker built in. Photoshop can check the spelling on all visible layers. Simply choose Edit, check Spelling, and it will go through. In this case, correctly suggesting that dispute is spelled D-I-S-P-U-T-E. I can click Change, and it will automatically update for me. It does not know how to spell Wauwatosa, however, I know that I've spelled it correctly. And in fact, I can simply click Add, and it will add it to the dictionary. This is a very simple lower third here. We could choose to add a logo or any other elements to spice it up. I have no doubt with a little practice and by applying several of the techniques in the book that you can make this work. Where it usually breaks down for folks, though, is saving this file for use in a nonlinear editing system. The key here is we need an alpha channel. To do that, we need to create a selection and then store the transparency in the image. The easiest way to do that is as follows. turn off the visibility on any layers that don't belong in the final document. In this case, the red box, the placement photo, and the white background. Saving the image now, though, would not be complete. We need to create a selection to store the transparency. The easiest method to do this for a multi-layer document is as follows. Make the new layer, hold down the Option or Alt key, and from the Layers menu, choose Option or Alt Merge Visible. You will end up with a flattened copy on the new target layer. Hold down the Command key on a Mac or the Control key on a Windows machine and click on the thumbnail. In doing so, you'll notice that the transparency selection was loaded. Don't be bothered that the right part of the image does not appear selected. What's happening here is only those areas that have an over 50% opacity will actually show up with the marching ants. The rest of this material, though, is actually selected and will be used. Since we need an alpha channel, we need to go ahead and switch to the Channels palette. Click on Channels, and you'll notice that we have a composite image plus a red, green, and blue channel. I'll go ahead and click on the Save Selection as Channel button, and the alpha channel is created. You see down here it's created a new channel to store transparency. Let's go ahead and turn that on and all other layers off. I'll press Command D or Control D to deselect. And notice the ramped transparency signifies the transitional ramp here for transparency. White areas are solid opaque. Dark areas are see-through. If I turn the red, green, and blue channels on, I'll notice that I have the composite image. I'll switch back over to Layers and disable that merged copy, thus restoring the original intensity levels of the document here. If I were to save this out right now, Photoshop would replace the checkerboard pattern here with white. What that means is that we would have an alpha channel that would be pre-multiplied with white, which would cause us a problem because we may end up with a white fringe around the dark edges of our soft drop shadow. Photoshop does not support straight alpha channels, so you have to manually create one. I'll switch RGB back on. What this means is if you have a red glow, put red in the background. If you have a black glow or black shadow in this case, take the background layer, select it all, and choose Edit, Fill, and then specify to fill with black. This way, when you save the file out, File, Save As, I usually use a PICT or a Targa format, you have the option to include the alpha channel, and you will get clean edges. Never apply compression to an alpha channel, and always save at the maximum resolution. Save off your layered PSD file so you can make changes if needed, and then go ahead and cleanly import the graphic that you saved, the PICT or Targa file, into your nonlinear editing application or motion graphics app. Oftentimes, the embedded alpha channel will result in a real-time key.